For those of you guys that would like to learn how to invest using Robinhood, we're going to be showing you how to use the Fibonacci sequence today. Let's get right into it. So Fibonacci sequence is based on some teachings. I actually want to pull up a Google search so you guys can see. Fibonacci indicator history. So it was an Italian mathematician, Leonardo Fibonacci, who introduced this sequence to the Western world in his book Liber Abaci in 1202. Now, over the years, traders and investors have adapted this sequence to analyze financial markets. Now, we've seen people like Leonardo da Vinci use this same golden ratio in the Mona Lisa, and we've also seen a lot of different occurrences in the nature of the world, in flowers, in different the way that trees grow, and among other things, including it's similar to pi, right? 3.14, because it's seen in nature so much. And the golden ratio is psychologically important to traders who are more likely to take profits or cover losses at certain price points marked by the golden ratio. And we see it play out really time and time again in the markets where you can identify the Fibonacci. A simple example here would have been if we look at Google stock. So this is GOOX. It's the ×2 fund that makes up Google stock. So for those of you guys that like to trade Google, this stock goes up by 2% every time Google goes up by 1%. So let's just take a look on a shorter term basis, maybe on the 3-month. We saw this consistent uptrend. Let's change this to a 4-hour. And let's just kind of walk through how this could be laid out, right? So we've seen this trend with Google, right? If we look on July 10th, we can go even more. Let's go a 1 year or even a 5 year. Let's just do it on Google. So you can see this consistent uptrend, right? So when you see a consistent uptrend, and let me just go ahead and turn off the other indicators. When you see a consistent uptrend like this, and you can see it's very consistent from 2022 to today. You can identify clear resistance and support. And it's very clear, right? Now, if you want to find an entry point when trading with Fibonacci, you're essentially going to see, you're going to be looking for an entry point that will come after a stock has sold off and is starting to recover. And this is actually a perfect example. So let's look on the 1 year. Let's change this chart to 4-hour so we get it. And essentially, you're going to select the Fibonacci retracement. You're going to look at the high. So you see this high here. It's making higher or lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and lower lows. So we have this downtrend. So when you're trying to find where, you go to the very bottom of that downtrend, and you're going to click and drag all the way up to the level that you believe is going to be where it's going to reach next. So we kind of identified this trend with Google that we just laid out, right? We just laid out this upward trend with Google. So I'm saying from this low, it's going to recover back to continue this trend that we have seen, right? And it's actually perfect. So now if we look on the 1 month here, we identified that it had recovered and that it had pushed up here. And we actually were going off this bottom of trend because this is the last time it went low. And what we saw was this golden ratio. So there's a couple different levels with Fibonacci. You have the golden ratio of 0.618. You have this ratio up here, it's the 0.500. So in a perfect trade, you enter here in the golden ratio and you sell in this level, that's that second level, or the third level, or if it's a really great trade and goes exactly as planned, you'd be selling up here, right? It's amazing. This is going exactly where we would anticipate Google to go. And what we've seen with Google is that it actually did that. So when we got confirmation that it was going to push through this golden ratio here, and we changed this back to a 4-hour, as we started to see this, we called out Google as a potential buy, because in previous patterns, you could see it was getting rejected below this, this golden ratio. It was getting rejected here. Maybe it did push up a little bit here, but then it kind of fell back below. It got rejected again. And then you could see this actually a clear line of resistance where this golden ratio is. It's even back here. And so as we started to push up and we saw it retest and we got confirmation that it was going to continue up out of the golden ratio, this is actually when I purchased Google. If I go back in my positions, I can find it here. Just add a widget. I think we go recent orders. Oh, it's not showing for more than the past week. So I just got my Tesla and AMD orders. So I don't think I can find. They don't have the most recent. That's okay. But here is where we actually called out and purchased Google, right here around $165. And what we saw is that it did push up out of the golden ratio. It stayed true to pattern and pushed up here about 7%, which was about 14% over on GOOX. Now we saw it sell back down. Now it's in that golden ratio again. Maybe it continues this upward direction as we've seen, and it could still have room to run as it may be in this golden ratio. And we'll keep an eye on some other indicators to indicate whether or not it could be a good buy as well. So is it 100% accurate? It's not saying you should buy it right now. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this is something that would give you some indication that you may want to do some more research about the stock on whether or not you'd want to purchase it or not. Okay, so that's kind of how that Fibonacci works. We can see the same thing here. Let's map it out on Microsoft stock. Since July, we saw it sell off. So again, if we just take that trend line and we look at Microsoft all the way down to the low, so you can see you identify the big downtrend. It's often how it will look in the markets, right? You can see that it was getting rejected here at this lowering resistance. Same thing with the support. And then the support, the lowest point was right here around $22. So now we identify the direction of Microsoft. Okay, so let's go over to the main Microsoft stock. And if we look at Microsoft stock over the past year, we could see this overall direction of going upwards, right? So you could see from here all the way up, right? And you can also draw that level of resistance here somewhere in this range, give or take. Okay, so now that we got that mapped out, we go back to this kind of 3-month, drop it down to 4-hour, kind of see where it is. And now let's kind of draw that Fibonacci. So again, we go from the top, see this downtrend to the lowest point. So we could call it about right here. And a couple things. So we could see it get to previous highs if it continues that pattern. And sorry, I meant to go to the lowest point, which is right there. And now we could see that this golden ratio right here is really where we are acting as a support. We see it really acting as a support here and right here. And now it's kind of at the bottom of this golden ratio. And if we throw on the RSI, we throw on the MACD, some of these other indicators here, and we could really look, it looks like it's pretty oversold on the MACD. It looks like it's oversold down here on the RSI. We know that Microsoft just recently beat their earnings, and they're one of the biggest players as a owner of ChatGPT, which is one of the bigger AI developments in the world. That we could actually see that in this golden ratio potentially could be a buy. And if it was, and we see it get back to, let's say, a good trade, we're looking to be 5 and 7%. Great trade, we're at 15%. And then if we make the same trade, if we go over here on Microsoft, which this one goes up by 2% every time Microsoft goes up by 1%. In that same level, we'd be looking at a 38% gain if it gets to previous highs. Okay, so that's kind of a map out on how to use the Fibonacci. Again, you're looking for kind of identified levels we could see. It was acting kind of as a resistance, the golden ratio, and kind of a support. Saw it push up. Like again, this could have been, as it entered this golden ratio, could have been a purchase for a trade. We saw it sell off. As it re-entered the golden ratio, could have been a buy and sell there, which was quite a hefty return back there, which if you would have bought after confirmation and sold conservatively, we're looking at 5% here on Microsoft or 10% over on MSFX. So right now we're at the bottom of this ratio, and we have this potential to buy. So that's kind of how you use the Fibonacci. This is how I wanted to choose some stocks that you guys might see as large growth, more maybe conservative investments like Microsoft, but that have been proven to grow in the AI and tech space over time. Those are the stocks we focus on the channel. For those of you guys that would like to watch me trade live in these and you'd like to learn how to invest in AI and tech in the future, I would encourage you guys to check out StockMate. It's that second link in the description down below. I would encourage you guys to hit that like button. Just a friendly reminder. Really appreciate you all. We're almost to 4,000 subscribers. If you got any value, do consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.